Hi, this is Pam East, and today I am going to give you a little introduction to metal clay by showing you how to make a simple leaf pendant. So I hope you enjoy this, and let's get started. So what is silver clay? Silver clay is 99.9% pure silver that has been powdered and mixed with organic binders and water so that you can work it like a clay. And this is what it looks like. It's this soft gray clay-like material, but there's no actual clay in it. It is almost pure silver. And when I fire it, the binders are going to burn away completely, leaving pure silver. So today I'm going to be using some molds I took of leaves, and if you would like to know how to make these molds, I do have another YouTube video that shows how to do that. It doesn't matter whether you get the green molding compound or the blue molding compound, they're both Castaldo and they both work great. So to begin, we have to roll out our clay. I have these slats and they are different thicknesses, and this allows me to roll my clay out to an even thickness. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to pre-roll my clay before I put it on the stamp. And I'm going to put a little release agent on here. The molds do not need release agent. They are self-releasing when you make these silicone molds. As I said, this is called Castaldo Quicksil, and they are self-releasing. So I've got a little oil on here, and then I'm going to, not too much, you don't want to use too much, and I'm going to roll out some clay. Now before I do that though, I have to decide which of these stamps I want to use. So I want to see which one has a texture that I like. So I'm just going to kind of just press my clay in there, and I'm going to take a little look. That's pretty nice. That's a good one. Let's see what this one looks like. So I've got two choices here. Oh no, I like this one. So I'm going to use the green one today. I think that's a better texture. And I'm going to start by rolling out my clay to 1.5 millimeters thick. The red slats are 1.5 millimeters. If you have done metal clay before and you are familiar with rolling out to cards, this would be the equivalent of 6 cards. And that's pretty thick, but I'm going to be rolling it down thinner. The reason I start thicker and go to thinner is because I get a better impression if I roll my clay first and lay it on the stamp flat. Again, I do have a YouTube video to show you how to make these leaf molds. So I want to use this edge over here, so I'm going to lay this over here. And then I'm going to put some slats over here. This is the mold is about 2 millimeters thick, and then I've got another 0.5 millimeter above that. And I'm going to roll this out on there. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to roll up, and I'm going to come back. And I think I'll go the other way a little bit too, just to make sure I get it well impressed into the mold. There we go. And now I'm going to peel that out. And there I have this beautiful impression of a leaf. And I am now going to use a template. And so I have a little circle template, and I want to do kind of half smooth, half textured. So, or maybe 3/4 textured, we'll see, or 2/3 textured. And I just kind of look for a spot that I like. I have to decide, do I want it to be a big pendant? Do I want it to be a smaller pendant? I'm going to just make a small one today. And we're going to lay it right there. Oh, I kind of like a little bit of this center vein here. And I am going to cut this out. I've just got a little needle tool, and I'm going to cut around that. And we're going to peel that away. And there's the beginnings of our pendant. And now I'm going to cut a hole because it's got to hang, right? So we're going to hang it somehow. So I have to decide where the top is. I'm going to look at this and decide which part of this is going to be the top of the pendant and which is going to be the bottom. And I kind of like this to be the top. So I'm going to take, this is just a cocktail straw, and I'm going to just go straight down, give it a little twist, and pull straight up. And now I have cut a hole that will I can hang my pendant from. And we'll go ahead and just save that little bit that came out from the cocktail straw. And then the last thing I'm going to do before I dry it is I want to dome it. This is just half of a plastic Easter egg. And I'm going to take my pendant and I'm going to put it on the Easter egg and form it to that. And that's going to give it a pretty domed shape. And now that has to dry. So we'll come right back after I get it dried. Okay, the piece is dry, and now I'm ready to do a little finish work on it before it's ready to fire. So it's got, the edges are a little rough. So this is just a nail block that I got from the beauty supply store, and this is how I'm going to clean up these edges. You always want to hold it very close to where you're sanding. If I hold it over here and sand, I'm likely to break it. So hold it close to where you're sanding. And go with the edge. Don't go against the edge. If you go against the edge, you're more likely to break it. So, because it is fragile in this stage before it's fired. This is called greenware finishing. Greenware is when it is dry, but not fired. And as I said, it is quite fragile in this stage. So I've got those edges smoothed out, and I'm just going to grab a little dusting brush here so I can dust that off. And then I am going to take a little round file and I'm going to clear out the hole too. Make sure the hole is nice and neat. And I'm going to dust that off, and that is about ready to fire. We just do a little bit of beveling. When I say beveling, I'm holding it at an angle so that I'm making sure there's not a sharp edge. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. When you're sanding, keep your hands soft. Don't squeeze too tight. That also leads to breaking. All right, so the last thing I want to do before I fire it is I want to sign it. I want to sign my name on it. So here is a little scribe, and I'm going to write my name on it. I've got to do this at a little angle. There we go. And because it's clay, it's very easy to do. All right, so there's my signature, and now it's ready to fire. So let's talk about firing metal clay. When you are ready to go from the clay form to the metal form, you have to fire it with heat, high heat. It needs to be fired around anywhere from 1500 to 1650. And there are a number of ways to do this. Now, the most Cadillac way, the best way, is with a kiln. I use a programmable kiln, but kilns are very expensive. They're anywhere from $800 to $1,000. And so there are other ways. If you're just starting out, you don't have to immediately invest in a kiln. The least expensive way would be with a little butane torch. And you can get a torch like this at any hardware store, and you can just get these butane refills. And it is a very accessible, inexpensive way. Now, there are some limits with this. For one thing, you have to be very careful that you don't melt your piece, and you have to make sure you get it fully fired. It's a little trickier than some of the other methods, so it does take a little practice. But again, these torches are very inexpensive and it's very accessible. The other limit on a torch is the size of your piece. You never want to do anything more than about, no more than about 15 to 20 grams. Although a really large piece, it's not going to work well with a torch. One of the other methods that I really like that's nice for entry level is the ultralight kiln. Now, these little ultralight kilns are absolutely marvelous. They're less than $300, so they're very affordable, and you can do a lot more than metal clay in them. You can fire metal clay in it, you can do enameling in it, you can do kembu, which is applying gold foil to silver clay. And I have out on my YouTube channel, if you go out on, and look at my channel, I have instructions for doing kembu. I have instructions for doing firing metal clay in the ultralight. I have enameling with the ultralight. It's all out there on my metal clay, or excuse me, on my YouTube channel. And so when you're done with this video, you can go look those up and watch some more videos and find out what you can do. But for right now, I'm going to use the torch because the torch is the fastest method and it's great for demos. And, and I want you to see how to control the torch so that if you do try this method, you don't end up melting your piece or under firing it. Okay, I've turned down the light a little bit and I've filled my torch. If you need instructions for that, they're out in the cyber world. And I am going to fire this. Now, before I do that, I wanted to show you my little setup here. I've got a heat-safe work surface, which is just a ceramic floor tile, and I've got a firing brick. You can use a soldering block, solderite board, just something heat-safe to fire on. This is a fiber brick for soldering. And then I've got this little piece of fiber blanket. Now, this is a woven ceramic fiber, and it won't burn up, but it will support my piece. If my piece were flat, I would just set it right on the brick, but I put it curved, and I want to make sure it doesn't lose that curve. So I'm going to support it on this little fiber blanket, and that's going to keep my shape on the piece. Whoops, get that in there. I've got it nested in there. And I have set my timer for 3 minutes, and we'll be firing this for 3 minutes to make sure that we get it fully centered. And so to start my little torch, I pull down on this little tab on the back, and then I'm going to press the button on the back, and hopefully it'll light. It didn't. Sometimes it takes 2 tries. There we go. And then it's got a little lock on the side that I'll press to keep it on. And now I can just start a nice little sweeping motion. And the first thing you're going to see is a little bit of smoke. That is the binder beginning to burn off, and now you'll see flame. That is the binder burning away. And then I'm going to get it to this light salmon pink color, and it is there now. And I'm going to start my timer. So I start my timer when I get it to the right color. And let's go ahead and turn off another light so that you can see that color a little better. Oh, there we go. And so you can see it glowing. So what you're looking for to get it fired correctly is, you know how a charcoal briquette, when you're barbecuing, it's pink underneath, but it's got that white ashy surface on top, and that's what I'm looking for. The surface of this piece is still whitish, but I can see that pink glow underneath, and that means it is at exactly the right temperature to center. And I'm going to be going ahead and keeping it at this temperature for the full 3 minutes. Okay, we have about 10 more seconds, and I've kept it at this even color the whole time. And here we go, timer's going off. There's my timer, and I'm going to turn this off. And the piece is fired. Now, I do not need to turn it over and fire the other side. It gets, as long as you have it at the right color, it will be fired all the way through. And there it is, and it is still a little whitish. Don't worry about that. In the next section, I will show you how to polish that up. All right, so it's fired, but you will notice that it is still kind of white looking, and the reason for that is the little molecules of silver are sticking straight up, and that refracts a lot of light. We've got to lay that down and burnish it before it's going to look silvery, but it is metal, and you can hear it. It sounds like metal now. It won't break. And I am going to brush it with a wire brush to get it started, and this is when you'll start to see the silver. So I give it a quick swip, and there you see the silver coming in. Or the silver was always there. We're just revealing it now. So a quick scrub with a steel wire brush, and I'll get the back too. Kind of get it on my hand. That makes it easier to get all the way around that. And then you can see that's nice and silvery now. if I want to make the smooth part a little bit shinier, I can come in with an agate burnisher, and I'm going to burnish this. And I'm not using the pointy part. That'll leave little lines and divots. I'm using the curved part. And I'm just going to rub on the surface, and that's going to make it a lot, it's going to compress the metal and burnish the metal and make that part really shiny, because I want that contrast. I want that leaf texture next to the little mirror shine. And you can do this with any kind of burnisher. You could use a metal burnisher. The problem with metal burnishers is that sometimes they scratch the surface. I really like the agate burnisher better. And I get my wire brushes and my agate burnishers. I really like this particular one. It's got a metal handle, and the wire brush had a plastic handle, and I get those from All Craft USA. And there we go. And now I've got that nice and shiny. And the one last thing I want to do is I want to get some patina on this leaf, because if I get some patina on there, it's really going to bring out the pattern and make it pop. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, let's add some patina to this leaf. Now, before I do any patina, I have to prepare the surface. Right now it's got fingerprint oils on it, and you know, I brushed it with a brush, and who knows what was on that brush. So I have to prepare that surface in order to get the patina to go on well. And I use a product called No Name Patina Prep. And it is, I know it's kind of a weird name, but it works really well. You can get this from a variety of sources. Just go ahead and Google that. And I am going to dip a little water on here, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little of this on the surface of my piece. I don't need much, that's plenty. You know, it's just a little bit, and I'm going to scrub that up. And I only need to do the prep where I want the patina, and that's only on the leaf. So that's the only part of this that I'm doing. All right, so now I've got that rinsed off. I'm going to dry it. You always want to dry it before you patina it. You don't want any water on the surface, because if there's any water on the surface, it will dilute the patina and you won't get a good patina. So you always dry it off. And I am going to be using Black Max, and this is Black Max. It is a patina. It's what it sounds like. It just does black. It doesn't do any other colors. And the way I like to use it is with a brush. And I have this water brush, and it has got these little bristles, and the barrel is filled with Black Max. And so I can keep it stored this way. When I store it tip up. I put the cap on and store it tip up so that the barrel doesn't leak. And I have a little flag on it that says Black Max, so that I don't forget what I have in it, because I have others and they have different chemicals in them. So this is all ready to go, and we're going to go ahead and use this to paint the patina where we want it. And so I'm squeezing the barrel a little bit to get some of the patina to come out, and now I'm going to just start painting it, and you can see immediately I'm getting that nice black patina. And I don't really want the patina on the mirror part, so I'm avoiding that. I'm just doing the leaf. And et voila, I am done. And now I need to neutralize it. So let me set that aside. And so Black Max, you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. Black Max is an acid, so don't touch it with your bare hands. And when it's done, you want to neutralize it. And I have here, this is water with baking soda in it. And this white powder down here is just a little baking soda, and that is going to neutralize it so that you don't have to worry about touching it anymore. But obviously we don't want it pitch black, so in the next section we're going to do our final polish. All right, so there is my piece, and I've got the black is very black, and the silver is very shiny, and that's what I wanted to see. However, I don't want to leave it like that. I want to be able to see the contrast of the leaf. And to do that, I'm actually going to remove most of the patina. And the first thing I'm going to use is one of these, again, one of these little nail blocks from the beauty supply store. And I'll start taking the patina off, and I'm going to start by taking it off the edges. And I'm also going to look at the back and make sure that there's no patina on the back. If there's any patina on the back of the piece, I guarantee if you don't polish it off, your shirt will. So we're going to get that off. And then I'm going to start cleaning up this part. And what I want you to see is right away we can start seeing the leaf pattern. And that's what we wanted. When it was all bright, shiny silver, there wasn't enough contrast to really see it. And when it was all black, there wasn't enough contrast. What gives you the contrast is having the patina down in the little nooks and crannies, but then polishing up the high points. And now you can really see that leaf. We want to continue polishing. And the next thing I'm going to use is called a flash shiner. And the flash shiner, it is another nail tool. You can get it where they sell beauty supplies. You can get it on Amazon. And it has got 3 sides. It's got the green side, which, or it starts with, it's 1, 2, 3, gray, green, white. So the gray side is the coarsest, which is pretty fine. This is a high polish tool. The green is even finer, and then the white is the finest yet. And that's what's going to give us the high shine on the piece. I'm going to use one that I've already started here, and I start with the gray side. And I'm going to do all of it this time. I'm going to do the, not only am I going to do the, whoops, that didn't work. Let me go over here. Not only am I going to do the leaf, I'm also going to do the silvery part, and I'm going to do the edges. I'm not going to worry about the back. I tend to leave the back matte finish, but I do want a nice shine on the front of this. And then I'm going to switch to the green side. And again, I'm going to go over the, not just the, oops, I think I missed going over this part with the gray. Again, I'm only trying, I still want it to look like a silver piece. I'm just providing some contrast. And then I'm going to do the green. And then lastly, I'm going to do this white. And this is what's putting a mirror shine on the silver. And then I'm gonna do this part too. And now you can really see that leaf, and the whole thing is going to pop. If I want to take it just a little bit more, I can take my agate burnisher and I can run it along the tops of the veins of the leaf, and that will make those pop a little more. And that is ready for a jump ring, and you can wear it. So now you have seen the complete process from clay to finished pendant. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you go out and you make beautiful things. Have fun.